Oh, I love it. Yes.
Wait, hang on. I gotta get it turned around the right way. All right. Happy holidays, Sports Business Take listeners. Ho, ho, ho. Welcome back to the Sports Business Take podcast, your home for sports industry news with a little personality. I'm Paul Hine. He is Zach Creekmore. How you doing today, Zach?
I'm doing good today, Paul. How you doing today, brother?
I'm great, man. I had a great holiday. I figured I'd wear the style a little bit, just mix it up, spice it up a little bit, just enjoy ourselves. I'm looking forward to New Year's, going into Boston. I've been super busy with like internship applications, actually.
Yes, cooking.
That's been pretty much since I got home from school. Oh, I don't think we've done an episode since I got home from.
No, the last episode I think was like you were there like the last day you were at school.
Yeah, that's right. I think you're right. So
it was that Thursday.
I have no idea, honestly. So finished all my finals. Did better than I thought I was going to do. Actually, I didn't realize this, but final grades just came out a couple days ago. I guess when you transfer, all of your like grades from your old school don't count anymore, and it's just like a fresh start.
No.
Because my semester GPA was the same as my overall GPA when I looked.
Bang it! Let's go!
So it wasn't like it added on. I like basically got to start over. So now I'm rocking a 3.7, and I'm happy as hell with that. But other than that, just been applying a lot of places. Got into the second round of a few things, but I don't want to say what, because if I don't get them, that's not a great look for me. And I've told you about a couple of them anyway. But I've been trying to reach out to get some freelance clients. I've decided that I have to reach out to 5 new clients every morning. Otherwise, like I'm not going to be able to book things, you know?
Right.
So the more I put into it, the more I'm going to get out of it. But hoping over the next month or so to work for a lot of high school teams and club teams doing video. So that's what I've been up to. How about you, man? What you been doing?
Well, good
How's
to
your
hear.
Christmas, first of all?
Christmas was amazing. Loved the holiday season. Thoroughly enjoy it. Thoroughly enjoyed the little bit of snow that we got. Although it did.
Yeah, white Christmas the first time in like forever.
Oh, a long time. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. It always seems to snow around Christmas time for me. I pray a little extra for that.
Yeah. It
so
doesn't feel
I
like
enjoyed
Christmas
that.
without it.
Oh no, not at all. I was in Aruba till like the 21st, and oh my days,
completely different. Yeah.
Because it's not cold, it doesn't feel like Christmas to me. It's weird. Like I need a little bit of cold weather for it, which is really, I guess, odd, but also just how I grew up.
No, that makes sense. That's how we grew up. You know, like we always had cold Christmas.
Absolutely. But yeah,
now,
so
do you
Christmas
host
really
every
good.
year, or do you go somewhere?
So when I was younger, we would host. Now we go to my aunt's,
Okay.
which obviously I love. So I'm driving up to Derby, Connecticut. Beep, beep. Love it.
Nice.
And have a really good time.
Nice.
So I had my girlfriend at Christmas for like the first time I've ever brought somebody like outside of my family,
okay.
which was really interesting.
Okay.
But obviously really enjoyed that. So like totally new dynamic for me in terms of experience, but I enjoyed that. Yeah, and have just been really enjoying life.
Good stuff,
Obviously
man.
lots of low stress, but I've got a lot of built up energy and really excited to get back into these projects I'm working on, and finally landed a job in the city. So I'm kind of hype.
Oh, with who?
So you remember did I tell you that I applied for Lectures on Tap?
No, you didn't tell me that.
So Lectures on Tap
you told me that you went, but you didn't tell me you applied.
Yes. So I went to an event, right? And I met their founders. And there I am, kind of like scrolling through the website because I had written them an email from after our conversation. And I see apply to work for Lectures on Tap. Run it back, go and I apply, and and also send them the email. So it's probably been like 3 weeks since I applied for them, and I heard back the 26th. No, it was the 20th. No, it was the 26th. I heard back the 26th that I got the job, so I'm super excited about that.
Wow. Did you like how many rounds did they do? Was it like just?
It was just one.
So
it was like
one round?
Yeah. So I had one interview and that was it.
Wow.
But it was a super quick turnaround because I have training tomorrow. So.
Oh, wow. Okay, so you really went from like no job to applying to now I'm onboarding within less than a month. That's crazy.
Yes. Which is, kind of makes sense. It's a part-time role. It's
okay.
Very much like still a startup. It's an event operations type of gig. So, but we'll see how it goes. I'm excited about it, though.
Congratulations. That's awesome. I had no idea that was even happening for you. So I'm very happy to hear that. I'm surprised it was only one round, though. Like, I I can't say which organization it is yet because I don't want to jinx myself, but I just got an interview last night with one of the places that I applied to, and they told me it was like phase 1 interview.
Mm.
And what I know about this company is that they have multi-month hiring process. So I'm thinking it's going to be like 3 or 4 rounds of interviews before I maybe do or don't get there. That's interesting to see the contrast between what you just said and I guess technically what I'm going through right now. Also, just did finish the second round for another organization yesterday.
Nice.
Excited about that one, but a lot of my applications, I haven't had to do this before this year. It's a lot of answering questions on video, but you're not talking to someone. You're not doing an interview. You're looking at the email questions that they sent you and then recording. I literally used Riverside to record my responses. It's
Mm.
way harder than you would think, dude.
Absolutely.
Like, way harder than you would think. And I've had to do that for at least 3 or 4 applications now. And I wonder if that's how it's going to be going forward in this industry is like they want to see your personality presented. They want to see that you can present yourself and that you can do something challenging like that. That's not an easy thing to do. It's easier to talk to somebody like I'm talking to you right now than it is to look at a web camera and speak into it like you're talking to a person, but you're not. You know what I mean? It's hard to be authentic when you're doing that.
Mm.
So I guess that's some of the challenges that I've been dealing with in my application process. But definitely like getting into the second round of a couple of things has made me at least hopeful that I'll land something for the summer. And if not, I have my freelance business to back up on. So uh,
True.
I'll have
No, you're
I'll have
set up for
something.
success.
Yeah, I'll have something either way. But
Absolutely.
yeah, because like most of the sports applications, it's December and January. Like that is crunch time for applications. I think
Big
I've
time.
I've applied to like 6 or 7 places so far and gotten the second round for 3.
That's really good. That's actually really, really good, Paul. I have to say, like,
Thank you, I appreciate
you
that.
should feel very proud of yourself. That's success.
Yeah, well, I'm kind of like trying not to be too optimistic. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because I know I
Well,
have
keep
to
your
get
keep your feelings and emotions realistic to an extent.
right. Yeah, I'm basically now out of the candidate pool from like thousands to hundreds. I'm like, okay, yes, this is good. You still have a lot of work to do, though, to
Mm.
actually land a spot. So that's something I'm looking forward to in the next month or so. It's kind of nice, honestly, to have no class to deal with while I'm doing that. Although I am taking like a couple online courses. I did a 3-hour course in graphic design this past week, and I'm going to start one in Photoshop soon. Definitely trying to improve on some of like the more technical skills like Photoshop, After Effects, those kind of things to make my content better, to make our content better. Actually, it's funny. I've been looking at like how to make your content stuff better on YouTube. I totally phrased that wrong, but I saw one today there's like 3 different features in CapCut that use AI that I had no idea existed that can make your videos pop. So that's something I'm going to try to do for us going forward. I wanted to ask you, moving on from Christmas, New Year's. So obviously, end of 2024. This is our first full official year, I guess, of doing Sports Business Take. What has that meant for you this year to be able to get this kind of thing and what we're doing?
Yeah. No, and great question, right? I think really what it does and what a podcast does or what content creation does for anyone is you're sitting there and you're putting yourself on a platform to be heard. Where
Yeah.
one, for me, it's been awesome because effectively I've been out of the sports world for the last 6 months ish plus. Maybe
Well, you're
probably more
still working at
realistically
AC a
for
little
like
bit, right?
I had ACC, I had US Open over the summer, but then I took a step away from that. Since September, like I haven't really been in this type of place where I'm constantly like testing my theories or applying
Yeah.
thoughts and concepts or using my brain to problem solve or be updated on these, I guess, current events, right? I was very
Yeah.
focused on myself and applying for grad school, taking these next steps, really figuring out what I want to do with my life, which kind of goes to like what speaks what this year has been for me, which has been a lot.
Me too. Yeah.
But really, the podcast has been an excellent outlet for me to be able to really apply concepts, maintain my interviewing skills, maintain my comfortability in front of camera, and really grow into these areas. And now in 2025, I really feel ready to hyper launch myself right into
Me
these new
too.
areas where I'm feeling more comfortable and I'm growing and really having been able to identify where my strengths are, be able to translate that and apply those things to my own work as well as to the podcast. Super thankful. Like this is what you need. You need that ability where you're sitting in front of somebody and you're having a professional conversation, or you're
Absolutely.
talking about what are these current events. Even if you're networking with somebody, you need to know what's going on in your industry. How can you communicate on those things, and how can you make that person interested in you and have an interesting conversation with them? These things are dynamically important, and that's what this podcast does.
I think I'd echo a lot of those same things. I think one of the things I just mentioned about the interview techniques that I've been going, or the application techniques I've been going through, having been in front of a camera and putting my voice out there online for over a year now, has honestly made me more confident when I'm going to do that type of thing. And it's still really hard, don't get me wrong. Like when I'm answering a question on camera like that, it's still taking me several takes to get it right. But I think it's definitely easier to present myself. I think, like you said, keeping up the background knowledge about what's going on in the sports world, it's made me so much more interested in the inner workings of how franchises operate, how leagues operate. And it's a great background knowledge to take to apply to our future positions, like, oh, I remember when we talked about on my podcast, this league did X or Y, and this is how it affected them. So like you said, I'm grateful for that experience. And I mean, just to have this as something that's outside of the box a little bit from what other people are doing, I guess you could say kind of unconventional in the sense that not a ton of college kids think to do what we're doing. So I've been very grateful for that, to be able to expand my skill set and learn a bunch of different things. Like a lot of my Photoshop experience right now is from making art graphics. I wouldn't have had that opportunity otherwise. A lot of my TikTok, you know, experiences from making art TikToks, as well as, one of my internships. But still, I think it's allowed me to gain a lot of experience that I wouldn't have gotten otherwise. So couldn't be more grateful for what we're doing.
Absolutely, and grateful for all the people who listen and give us a reason to keep doing it. Right, that
Definitely.
encouragement and that motivation,
Yeah.
whether it's positive or negative interaction, we appreciate it and really
Yeah. It's
really
it's
enjoy.
funny. Like the couple clips we had blow up this year that really did, the interaction wasn't always positive, but I think what it meant for us was that the people who were exposed to our actually good content that we care about, that grew because our channel was getting more attention, which was nice to see. It felt good to know that we were helping people and informing people. But want to do like a little bit of a reflecting on the year segment. So I guess a couple things I wanted to ask you was, what was one thing you felt like you really learned this year,
Hmm.
and also what does 2024 mean to you? Like, what did you do this year that was really meaningful for you?
Yeah, absolutely. And I have to say, 2024, as Paul knows, and as probably many of the viewers know, because I'm a bit of an open book and I talk a lot, 2024 was a crazy year for me. Graduated college a year early. Over the summer, got caught up in inner work. I guess the best way to say it is work politics, and had a bunch of drama with my coaching roles in Maine, and had to leave Maine like a month early because I had issues with that. Came home, dove right back into coaching with ACC, and pursued that. Effectively worked um, for a month plus for free, and pursued that, and really drove and set myself up for success there. And went to the U.S. Open, and then realized while I'm at the U.S. Open, I don't want to work fully in professional sports in this manner where I'm working Sunday to Sunday, morning and night. It's like that's not for me. I need that back. I'm 21. I need to experience life a little bit. My entire life
Yeah.
can't be soccer, which was a big realization because since age 17, since I started coaching, soccer has been my entire life.
Right.
Whether I'm playing or whether I'm coaching, right? That's really been the experience. And before that, I was still playing. So it's a big thing. Came back from the US Open, right, which was awesome. Loved the experience there, really enjoyed that, and really was like, okay, no longer I'm doing ACC, no longer coaching. What do I want to do with my life? What do
Yeah.
I want to pursue in grad school? And thankfully, very quickly was able to identify what I really want based on what my internship experiences were in, based on what I was passionate about, and based on what my favorite classes were in college, and effectively took that into, okay, I'm pursuing branding, marketing, storytelling, effectively event operations, and building and managing events. And thankfully recently got into Fordham for their marketing intelligence program there. So
You did? Let's go,
I did.
dude.
I did. I didn't tell you that either, dude.
You're dropping truth bombs on me today. Let's go, dude. Okay, hang on. So I haven't talked to you in 2 weeks, and in those 2 weeks, you got into grad school and landed a job.
Yes.
What the hell? Why didn't you let me know? I text you when I apply a place.
No, Paul. I be secretive. I'm moving in the dust, but also I've been really busy because I've been out of the country.
You're making moves in the dark and nobody's seeing them.
That's kind of the goal, right?
Yeah, true.
But I think really what 2024 has been for me has probably been the most tumultuous. Like, let's use the word bipolar. 2024 has been big time bipolar for me.
Chaotic,
right?
maybe.
Okay, chaotic, but bipolar. It's bipolar. Like, oh my gosh, I was so successful in school, graduate summa cum laude, all like do great things there. I'm super excited to get into soccer. Doesn't really end up that that's what I want to do. Okay, I totally went through a big time, like not big time, but like small time depression, and watched all of How I Met Your Mother in 3 weeks.
Which a quarter life crisis.
Quarter life crisis is what we would label it. Experienced that, and now I really feel like I have a direction that I'm really passionate about and really excited about. I have plans and strategies to make my own content, to be growing my portfolio in that, and I'm really, really excited to kind of like start sharing and telling stories, whether they be stories about brands, stories about myself, stories about other people. I'm happy.
Yeah.
And 2024 was the way for me to go from, okay, I'm pursuing what I should pursue, sports, athleisure, coaching, school, right? All these different things, to this is what Zach wants to do with his life. And Zach is genuinely happy in doing that. I've grown a lot. So 2024, in all honesty, probably has been one of the craziest, but also best years of my life. And it may be I'm just ending on a really high, but very thankful for the experiences I've had this year. And that's my probably 7-minute long answer to that question. But oh my days, 2024 is
honestly amazing. I would echo a lot of that. I think growth is a word to describe this year, probably for both of us in a lot of ways. And maybe like, I said chaotic, but both in good ways and bad. This was probably one of the most meaningful and productive years of my life, but also one of the hardest years of my life. There's been a lot of change. Obviously like transferring to a new school, going to a place where there are, 10 times more people than I had ever, more than 10 times people than I had ever experienced before, working multiple internships, we started in 2023, you and I, but maintaining 2 podcasts, starting a second one, getting into a career that I had honestly like no idea about before this year. I said this actually in a second round application yesterday. One of the things I mentioned was I've been able to come so far this year, but at the beginning of the year, like I knew nothing about video and photography and videography and cameras. I knew nothing. And then other than what you and I had done on the podcast, and then I got into it because I got the NAVS position, and I said to Corey McCarthy at St. Joe's, my boss there at the time, I need to get some experience for this, and I want to prepare myself best for this role that I got during the summer. Can you allow me to shoot some games? So I got to shoot for St. Joe's, which was awesome. And ever since then, man, it's just been like building upon learning and learning and learning and learning more stuff, and I'm kind of in the middle of it right now. There's constantly more to learn about, I guess, the path that I've laid out for myself. But I really do feel more confident now than I did at the beginning of the year that I'm a much better social media personality and photographer and videographer than I was a year ago. This was definitely a lot of growth professionally for me this year. We've gotten to talk to some amazing people on Sports Business Take, like Cathal, like Johnny Lazarus. Like we've gotten some really cool opportunities, I think, both of us this year, and I'm super grateful for that. But there was also a lot of hard things that happened for me this year. I told you over the summer I lost my dog, and that was That was really hard for me and my whole family over the summer. And then, obviously moving my whole life essentially from Maine, where I lived for 2 years, to back home in Mass was a huge deal for me. And then I think a lot of people don't realize some of the hours that go in behind the scenes, behind some of the stuff that we do. Like I started my own freelance business this year. That takes a lot more time than you actually would think it would, and I'm not even dedicating all my time to it. I can't claim that, but reaching out to clients takes a lot. And I learned how to build my own website this year. That's pretty freaking cool. You know what I mean? So it's been a year of growth, but also a hard year at the same time. So I think I've learned a lot of lessons this year, both about what I want to do in my life, like you were talking about, and also a lot about people too. I've had a lot of
Hmm.
a lot of different relationships change, and met a lot of new people that I've been thankful to meet. Gotten exposed to a lot of new ideas and thought perspectives. So definitely grateful for this year. I think I'll look back on this as like one of the most, maybe the most important year of like my college years.
I think, Paul, I think that's a great statement. I honestly have to say, like, I probably agree. Although, like, I would say sophomore year for me, which is what you're in your junior year now, right?
Yeah, this I guess 2024 was sophomore to junior.
Sophomore to junior. So
Yeah,
I would say like that year was really big for me in college. But even greater has been the year in between my just graduating and that
I'm
experience. It's
sure.
been so
Yeah.
massive for me. So I totally agree. I think growth is the word. And I don't know if we want to keep dragging on this section or if we're gonna cut it and like make this its own episode.
We could stop this now, and then I upload that as like a year end recap, and then we continue on with our second piece, because
Awesome.
we're already a
Um,
half hour in.
we are, and I fear we have more. So last night I was sitting here and I was discussing with a friend, and he asked me this question, and I think for every viewer, but as well as for ourselves, it's kind of a statement of what do you want to do in the next year, right? What are those three
Mm.
goals? Those three, and they could be big goals because for me, every goal is always an umbrella. I'm sitting under it, and I've got about 2 million raindrops coming through my umbrella because it's probably got a lot of holes in it. But
That's a hell of
what
a
are those?
metaphor.
But in short, like I set big goals, and I have a lot of things that I need to do to reach those goals. Whether it be hours, whether it be things you're creating, but realistically, what are those three big things that you want to see yourself accomplish in this next year? What are those three big things that you're thankful for accomplishing in this year? I don't know. Do we want to answer those questions or do we want to leave it open for the viewers to ask those questions to yourself? Or do we want to do a bit of both?
Let's do a bit of both. I think for me, three things that I'm grateful for that I accomplished this year. I mean, I don't want to sound like I'm boasting with any of this. You know what I mean? Um, but I did get into the number one sports management program in the country, which meant a lot to me after getting rejected twice from that program, and having the
Persistence.
opportunity. Yeah. That's actually one of the things I said in one of my job applications recently. They asked me what would set myself apart from other candidates. And I said, my persistency to commit to my goals. And I think that was one of them for me this year that I got to do. I'm now at the best, the top ranked sports management program in the country, which has been huge for me. I made a lot of connections out of it, and I think I've gotten a lot of value out of that. So I'm grateful for that and having accomplished that. Also, my internship at the UMass Athletic Department, that I've learned so much about the art of shooting like from a camera, the art of video, how to edit and how to make your videos look better, not lingering on shots so long, or making sound effects or lining up music, and all these different things that you can do within software to make your videos look more visually appealing and make them pop more. And I think it's really made me kind of fall in love with what I'm doing. Is there's always something new to learn. So I think accomplishing that goal for me this year was huge. The third thing, I think the third thing that I guess I could say that I accomplished this year, and I said this again in a job application the other day too, but I kind of turned myself into a morning person this year, and that's more of like a personal one and not like a job related or professional related thing, but it allowed me to get a lot done. I think it's the only way I was able to balance everything that I have been doing, the school plus the two podcasts now, plus the internships, plus, I mean, I still work out pretty much every day, like 5, 6 days a week. So having balanced all of that, I think was only possible because I probably on average 6:30 or 7 now. I wasn't somebody before this year, honestly, who ever liked to get up before 8, really. If not later, 9:30. So I think transforming myself into a morning person this year, kind of not by choice, but by choice at the same time. Last semester at St. Joe's, I had all 8 a.m.s. That kind of forced me to be a morning person. And then once I got to the summer, I was like, okay, well, I've done that already. I saw how it gave me a lot more time throughout my day to kind of to stack what I'm doing and accomplish more than I thought that I was going to be able to. So I guess that's my third thing, my third goal that I hit this year, or that I was grateful for this year, was realizing how much winning the morning actually means.
Powerful statement. And I think it's really true, right? And me being someone currently who's probably losing his mornings, it is.
Listen, I'm not going to say I'm perfect with it right now. It's winter break.
Oh yeah, it's winter break. But the word discipline comes to mind, and it's the determination to say, I want this more than I want the other thing. And that's hard at times. And I've become, and it's really odd, I've become much more of a night person than I am a morning person. But when I first but this is like across college, right? When I first went to St. Joe's, I was up at like 5:30 a.m. every day.
Right.
But since I became an RA, lots of changes happened for me. But I think for me, you saying that, I'm like, that was something I would enjoy getting back into in the new year, but we'll see what happens. I won't make any promises yet.
Well, yeah, you'll have a different schedule now that you have a new job.
Yeah, well, and that's also working nights.
Oh, okay.
But it's an event, so it's like,
right.
I'd be working like 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. plus.
Right.
So we'll see, which isn't that bad.
What's like your role there going to be? I know I'm going off topic, but
we'll go off topic and we'll go back on topic. So effectively, the job that I applied for, what I would be doing is I'm a host/event manager.
You're gonna be so good at that.
It is my niche. It's what I'm very good at. It's hospitality combined with public speaking. So welcoming people into the event, managing the talent, which would be our speakers, and then also just helping to admin the event, whether it be, okay, we have an issue with the projector, I have to solve that problem, or we have an issue with the mics, I have to solve that problem. So not saying I'm an audio engineer, but saying that I'm a problem solver from time to time.
Yeah, dude, that's awesome. You're going to be perfect for that role. So
I hope.
We believe. I'm happy for you, man. That's awesome. And I know it's maybe not what you set out to do when you started college, working in professional sports or anything, but you're still close to the sports realm. We're still doing this,
yes.
And you never know where life is going to take you. So this is a good first step for you. I'm happy.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that.
With that, let's get into what do you want to accomplish in 2025? What are 3 things or goals that you have going into the new year?
So this is the way that I answered the question yesterday. 1 is earning goal. 2 is portfolio goal. 3 is kind of quirky fun. I want to learn new things goal. Okay. So I really would like to earn like $50,000-$55,000 before August, which is like crazy, but I feel like that's pretty realistic. And then I follow that with, I would really like to create and build my own portfolio. So I have a portfolio. It's still growing. I have a lot of things that are on back order that I'm working on, but effectively displaying how I'm telling stories and the things that I'm doing. So I don't know if those of you that don't follow me on Instagram, just follow me on Instagram at zt.creeks, but my Fordham case study and kind of doing more stuff like that, while also creating direct Instagram and TikTok content and kind of telling stories in that way. Which is something that obviously I don't spend a lot of my time on. I'm usually more back-end idea person.
Dude, if you want, I'll let you like start with creating some of our content if you have ideas. Like,
I have lots of ideas, but I don't know if they're sports niche enough. So I'll share the document with you of all my ideas. We can chat.
Okay, I'm sure we can find a few things where like we're both pretty creative, but you definitely think of some out of the box things that I don't. So I would be interested in doing that to vary up our stuff a little, because I get caught up a lot of the time, and I'm looking at our page and I'm thinking, wait, it's kind of the same thing over and over again. It's like a clip of you and me talking on a show for a minute and a half or whatever, and then that's it. I'll put the occasional meme up there or something, when a big event happens in sports, or, like the day in the life video that I just released, I'll do that kind of thing occasionally. But we haven't done really a ton of out of the box content, and that's something that's actually okay. That's one of my goals for the new year. Let's do some out of the box content.
I like that.
Okay.
So I think my big goal is to create content. So here's my list of 5 things that I want to do: Instagram Reels, and I want to build like a strong portfolio and reach.
What kind of stuff do you want to do on there? Like, are you thinking sports stuff? Are you thinking like life advice, money? Like, what do you
this
gonna
so
talk
more
about?
marketing style content, but the video that I'm in the process of making right now is effectively on color theory, but it's analyzing why does Apple have pretty much every single accessory that it makes for its devices, why are they in white? Why is every box they use in white? Why is their store specifically designed to have a light and a white palette?
I think their brand is kind of like, oh, this is funny. Now we're talking about branding. I think it's kind of like clear cut, simple stuff. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Simple but works.
Yes, exactly.
So they don't need like a ton of colors all over their brand. They need a simple, uniform color, and that's what they have. You know what I mean?
Yes, well, it goes to the theory, to color theory, right? Because colors directly make us feel emotions, inspire us, influence how we do things, what we do, right? So I've read probably 3, 4, 5 books on color theory. Not saying I'm an expert, I'm still learning, and that's why it fascinates me, why it's what I enjoy. But realistically, why Paul Mitchell does their products in white, why Apple does these products in white. But when you look at Apple, their phones aren't in white, their laptops aren't in white. It's just their accessories, which is what's interesting. It communicates excellence, elegance, class, simplicity. It's clean. Now, realistically, that is what Apple's brand has been since the 90s, right?
Mm-hmm.
That
it
is what they
represents them pretty well.
So, absolutely. So, part of my job or what I'm working on right now, that's the video that I'm working on, is producing why do brands do the things that they do and why does it connect with you specifically as the audience. So, that's the type of story that I'm trying to tell. Now, it may connect to sports in certain scenarios and cases, like why are the Yankees the way that they are? Why do they wear pinstripes?
Yeah.
What does that communicate, right? What was the thought process behind that? What's the story behind that?
Right.
While at the same time, it doesn't sometimes, right? So this one isn't sports specific; it's just branding specific.
Yeah.
But I like learning about brands and why they do the things that they do. And color
Valid.
theory is something that I have a lot of fun with.
Valid. All right. So did you say like your total 3 or were you at 2? I'm sorry.
I was at 2, but okay. So
2.
Content, that's the answer to your question. But content creation, I want to do Instagram Reels, like the Instagram video I just described, plus more. I would like to do kind of like sports in the life content. I'm really, and this kind of speaks to my goal 3. In the next 5 years, I want to compete in an ATP Challenger, playing tennis or pickleball.
Okay.
Which is like, me being a soccer guy is totally new and totally experienced, but I need something new. I can't just keep pursuing soccer. There's nothing there for me right now. Well, no, not that there's nothing there for me. I can play, but it's just not worth it. So I want to challenge myself in new ways and share that experience with other people. So
hey, that's growth.
That's growth, exactly. I want to create a magazine. So I want to have 3 or 4 magazines that I produce by the end of this year.
Wow.
That I share with people. Now, I have a couple of ideas and concepts behind that, but mainly it being like sharing stories, ephemera, kind of concepts and ideas. And I also want to have a weekly or bi-weekly newsletter that I've made. And I want to create that. So these are all things
for
that
the magazine or like just for your personal
I think
brand?
they would be connected, but not necessarily specific.
Okay.
So maybe I have a bi-monthly magazine, but I have a weekly and bi-weekly, or I have a bi-weekly newsletter.
Yeah.
I would like that, but it just depends on like how much I can do in what ways and what stories I can tell.
Let's chat off air about some marketing stuff, because I'm trying to figure out right now like how to bring my website to teams that want my services, like how to get my brand out there. So I think we're kind of on similar wavelengths in that regard of like trying to expand our brands a little bit and get some new things on our portfolios. I guess you could say that's a goal of mine, but I'm not going to use that as one of my 3.
No, good answer.
Creating some different content was one for me. Another obviously is landing an internship with a professional team or organization this summer. I think if I got one of the things that I have already applied for, and it sucks that I can't say it yet because it hasn't happened, but if I get one of those, it would be life-changing for me, so I think that's a goal of mine for 2025, and that's one of the things I'm trying to make happen right now. And then third one's kind of a little bit off book. I was among a top percentage of Snapchat users this year. So I do not want to be on Snapchat as much as I was in 2024. So I guess my third goal would be to kind of consume better quality content and not
Mm.
focus on getting distracted so much in social media, but actually consume the content on social that's going to benefit me and that's going to help me progress as a person and professionally, and not get distracted by people or conversations that don't really matter to me in the long run.
Well, I think the biggest point to that, and I think that has been a really big change for me in this year, is what I consume and how I consume content has totally changed. Although I still would say I'm a very, very high content consumer. That's really, really important for somebody who is looking to get into the marketing world. You need to consume content and understand what is the content that you enjoy consuming. It's highly likely that's the content you'll enjoy making. So how can you
Yeah.
inspire yourself, and what can you collect? I got an iPad for Christmas, and literally I sat for like an hour just going through Pinterest, and in 30 minutes I got every single thing that I wanted to use my inspiration for the video that I'm making, right?
Wow.
So what toolings can you use? And I did specifically search for it, but like how can you collect things that are going to say this inspires me, let me share that with other people?
Yeah.
And that is a lot through content consumption.
Yeah. Around the content consumption thing, I think I've realized if I want to work in social media, I have to know what's like trendy or going on. And it's hard because I think one of my goals this past year was to be on social media less, like, and do more. But now I'm realizing maybe I need to be on social a little more in smart ways and strategize how I consume it in order to make myself better at what I want to do, which has been kind of a realization I've been having over the last couple months. I'm realizing, oh, if I want to run a team's account, for example, I have to know what's going on and what trends. Like if I'm running their TikTok, for example, I have to know what's trending on TikTok so that we can jump on that or create our own trends. Or we have to be on the forward facing edge of what's going on the platforms. So trying to put myself in that headspace of kind of figuring out what kind of content do I want to consume, and also what kind of content will be useful for me to consume and make me a better person and professional at everything I do. That's definitely one of the goals for this year. I guess my point in that was less distractions and more usefulness out of my phone. You know what I'm saying?
Less distraction, more direction.
That's a perfect way to put it. Thank you. You had the words that I didn't. I can't believe we've done 45 minutes already, dude. Let's. So, do you have anything else you want to talk about on this? Because we're gonna do 2 separate episodes now.
Oh, we definitely are. But I think the last piece that I really want to give, and this is like, let's just chat, right? You need to be wise with how you do things. And I think it's not wrong for you to say you want to do less Snapchat, because I think Snapchat is not like, I do not see a sports team that is on Snapchat that is actually driving revenue through that.
Right. No.
There's sports teams and there's businesses on Instagram, businesses on Twitter, businesses on TikTok that are directly driving revenue through that.
That's right. Yeah.
Snapchat
YouTube Shorts is one that I've been trying to consume more of recently, because Shorts is growing like crazy, man.
Yes.
And that's something that I've been trying to get us into a little bit. Oh, you see, Doggo made an appearance.
We love it.
That's Emmy, for everybody who doesn't know. We got her in July. She's just over a year old, Black Lab. I figured that would happen at some point.
I hope that happens good.
just me and her in the house right now, so she's hanging out. Good little support for the podcast. Yeah, so just trying to direction my attention of what I'm actually spending my time doing, and I think I got a lot better at that in 2024, but continuing to improve on that in 2025 is one of my goals.
Absolutely. Well said. And I think that should be a goal for everybody who's listening, right?
Yeah.
Do not distract, be direct, set a course for yourself and sail the seas, right?
Yeah,
sometimes on the seas you hit a storm and that's okay, right? But
Yeah.
sail those seas and really challenge yourself in 2025.
Definitely. I think like 2024, I think 2025 will be a year for learning. You know, I think for both of us, it's definitely going to be a learning year. And I'd encourage all those out there who are watching to go try something new, because you don't know if you're going to be good at it or not, and you never know what could happen. I mean, not to say that I'm where I want to be yet, but I had like I said earlier, I had no idea what I was doing when I started videos this year, and now I feel that I'm on a path to succeed in this part of sports. So you really never know, like, once you actually try to apply yourself to it, what you can do with it. So just try something new this year, and let us know. Last thing, let us know what your goals are for 2025, because we want to hear from you. And if there's anything either of us can do that to help you on that path, whatever knowledge you want to take from us and the experiences that we've had, even though we're only 2021, still kind of inexperienced in the world. I think you and I personally have grown a lot over the last couple of years. So any like college kids out there or anybody who's looking to grow personally, we both know a good bit about that and what it takes to do that. So don't hesitate to reach out to us.
Well said, Paul. Thank you. Let us help you grow. We'd love that.
All right. Peace and love, y'all. Hope you enjoyed this special episode. And we will see you when we actually talk about what we meant to talk about today. All right. Peace, y'all, and have a good New Year's.